Let's go through Liquid 2321 maximum score of spliced array. For this question, it gave us integer array nums1 and nums2. Both have length n. And we are able to choose two index, left and right, which has 0 smaller or equal to left and smaller or equal to right and smaller than n. And swap the subarray nums1 left to right with the subarray nums2 left to right. And the score of the subarray is the maximum of the sum of nums1 and nums2 after swapping. So return the maximum possible score. So you see the left can be greater or equal to 0, right smaller than n. Right? That means for this kind of range, we have two arrays, nums1, nums2. So left can be even to be 0, right can be a -1, right? So that means we can swap everything, or even there is nothing on the left, nothing on the right, right? Or just swap some other part. So just for normal cases, is that what we swap is that we swap something in the middle, and we take the leftmost on this one and the rightmost on this one, right, and get the middle of the second one. But it says that the maximum can either coming from this range, or the maximum can coming from this range, right? This range. So first thing what we want to do is that we want to get these two scenarios as one cases. We're always trying to get the leftmost and the rightmost from the first array and the middle part on the second array. So we can write help function, right? So what we do is return helper nums1 and the nums2 and max nums2 nums1. So that we are always getting the leftmost and rightmost from array 1 and the middle part from the array 2. So this is the first thing we need to we want to change, right? The second thing is that assume we now what we are always trying to find a part which can make a nums array as many as we can by swapping those parts in nums2, right? So how can we do, because there is 3 segments, or we'll say this, it's possible there is nothing on the left or not on the right, but or even possible not swap, right? But the thing is that for normal cases, there are 3 parts: part 1, part 2, and part 3. So now we want to sum these 3 parts to get the maximum value. This is a bit difficult for us. Of course, we can use the 2 for loop, right, to get the maximum. But to for loop, this kind of range will be TLE. And also, so we should do think something more efficient. Um, we'll see. We are summing nums nums1, right? And plus something to nums left minus 1. Nums1 left minus 1. And this part is nums2 left plus something to nums2 right, right? And here, this part is from nums right 1, right plus 1, right? To nums1 and minus 1, right? This is from nums1, 0 to nums left minus 1. So um, we'll see this is coming from nums1. This also comes from nums1, but this is coming from nums2, right? So if we can thinking about doing some transformations that we create something the array nums 2i for every element that nums 2i minus nums 1i. That is we call a diff array, right? So what we summing up is instead of summing from two different arrays, but we summing from everything from nums1, right? And plus this diff array, right? Diff part. So that will be sum of array 1, nums1, plus max diff, right? So we can pre-generate the diff array. And now what we want, this is constant, but this one we want to find the maximal value, right? So we have diff array, which every nums diff di equals nums 2i minus nums 1i. So we just want to get the maximal value of this diff array. So the result will be some num1 plus the maximal subarray of the diff array, right? So how can we get the max sum of a subarray? And we can use prefix sum, right? For prefix sum, every time we go through the element of this kind of array, right, we get current prefix sum. And we also have the minimal previous prefix sum. So for every array and with this index, current index, we have a max, local max, and compare with the global max. So let's write code for this, right? So for this helper, as we talk about, we need a prefix sum. So we need a prefix sum. Instead of creating the diff array in advance, we can use a variable, prefix sum variable, and a minimal prefix sum variable so that we can just iterate the numbers, then get the prefix sum, the mean prefix sum. We don't need to get the diff array in advance, right? So let's set this one as 0. Mean prefix sum equals 0, right? So type n equals nums1 dot length. And sum 1. We need so we know the final result will be the sum 1 plus the max sum of the diff arrays subarray, right? So we are going to have something called max, right? But for diff array, for this max, we cannot set as 0 because for the diff array, nums2 and nums1, it can be either one, possibly nums1 is greater for at the index I. So it may be negative. So let's set this one as integer dot mean value, right? Of course, we can right shift 1, right? So what we do is that for int I equals to 0, I smaller than int I plus plus, then we iterate and get the diff equals nums 2 I minus nums 1 right? So we have prefix sum plus equal to D. And we are going to, so the current um, max end with the I, which has maximal sum of the default rate, which end with index I is prefix sum minus minimal prefix sum, right? The current one is prefix sum minus the minimum prefix sum. So for the result, we'll say the max result, global result will be max prefix sum minus minimal prefix. Right. And also, we need to have the sum of sum one, right? Sum one should plus equal to nums one I. So in the end, just return sum one plus max. So um, me sum one. Let's look at helpers nums one, nums two, helpers nums two, number one, prefix sum, mean prefix sum, right? Initially we said this one, and this one. So for every d equals nums two minus nums one I, and the prefix sum. The thing is that we should also update the mean prefix sum, right? Because max dot mean prefix sum and the mean prefix sum. So like this, we have a time complexity will be O and there is no actual space. We use the variables, right? So it is constant space complexity. Python code is very similar, right? So we need a return helper nums one, nums two, minus help not minus should be max, right? We want to get the maximum value of helper nums two, nums one. So what we want is def um helper nums one, nums two, right? So we need a prefix sum, mean prefix sum, and sum one, right? And also max sum of diff, right? Max diff sum, max d sum equals prefix sum is zero, mean prefix sum is zero, length is length nums one, right? And sum one initial is zero, and max diff sum we should set as a float. We cannot set this one as arrow because it may have negative values, right? So for I in range n, we're going to diff d equals nums two I minus nums one I, right? So what we do is the prefix sum is plus equal to d, and well result equals max result prefix sum minus mean prefix sum, right? And also we need to update the mean prefix sum equals mean dot mean prefix sum and prefix sum. And we also when we iterate, we can get the sum one, right? Should plus equal to nums one I. Then just return sum one plus max sum. Max D sum, okay. Max D sum. This is not a result, should be max D sum, okay.